Good day everyone. I am Denise Nidera, your discussant for today, and you can contact me at my social media accounts and Gmail accounts, Facebook accounts, and my personal number. Kung may tanong kayo, pwede nyo akong i-message dito sa mga account na to. We're in the Unit 3, the intensifications of global encounters and the establishment of nation-states. Nasa Renaissance period na tayo. Period 1, Lesson 21. Here are the objectives. Analyze the factors that paved the way to Renaissance. Of course, paano tayo nakarating sa Renaissance period? Of course, there are factors that contribute to the modern world, or yung sinasabi nilang the Renaissance. Mamaya, aalamin natin kung ano tong mga to. Analyze the contributions of the Renaissance to the world. Ano nga ba yung ibig sabihin ng Renaissance? Of course, meron yung ibig sabihin. At kung ano man yung ibig sabihin na yun, syempre marami siyang contributions kasi binago niya nga yung medieval o yung Middle Age into modern world. Next, we have to discuss the important roles of the merchants, bankers during the Renaissance period, and to discuss the role of Medici family in the rise of the Renaissance. Sino nga ba itong Medici family na to? Mamaya, makikilala natin sila. Tapos, discuss the focus of studies of the humanists and scholars and enumerate the thinkers who propagated the Renaissance and their respective contributions. Sino nga ba itong mga sinasabi nilang thinkers o yung mga nagpasimula o yung utak nitong Renaissance na to sa likod ng successful na period na to. Syempre, mamaya malalaman din natin kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng humanist. Yan. Ito yung mga nasa topic of course, the overview, the origins, Latin and Greek phases of Renaissance humanism, social and political structures in Italy, Black Plague or the Black Plague, and the cultural conditions in Florence. Yun yung mga topic ko. Since yung the Renaissance period is meron siyang period 1 and period 2. Ang napunta sa akin is yung overview, origin. Yun nga. Pupunta tayo sa topic ko, the Renaissance period 1. Overview. In the beginning of the 14th century, new ideas emerged which were vastly different from the ones that became dominant during the Middle Age. The medieval view of the universe, society, man, slowly gave way to science and secularism. Dito sa Renaissance, nabigyan, parang na-emphasis yung science. Parang dito nakilala natin yung mga iba't ibang inventor na kung saan yung mga na-invent nila is bumago sa paraan ng pamumuhay o the way of living ng mga tao noong period na yun. Dito nakilala din natin yung mga great artists, writers ng panahon yun. Ano nga ba yung secularism? Sabi kasi dito, society and slowly give way to science and secularism. When we say secularism, dito sinasabi na yung religion, hindi dapat siya makialam sa education at sa politics ng lugar nila. Dito parang sinasabi na hindi talaga pwede magsama yung religion and politics. Ayaw nilang makialam yung religion sa politics. Siyempre may science. Dito parang dito magtatalo yung dalawa, the religions and the science, of course. Next we have the unacceptable. Instead, the use of prisons became the basis, analyzing things and building institutions. Because of the decline of the church, the priests slowly lose the monopoly in learning, eventually leading a secular view of literature, arts of the world. A new era called the Renaissance emerged towards the end end of the Middle Ages. So dito, parang, dito, dati kasi, alam naman natin kung gaano kalaki ang kapangyarihan ng mga tao sa religion. So, alam mo naman dati na dito rin sa Pilipinas nangyari din yun na kung saan yung mga pare, sila yung kumokontrol or parang may hawak ng power. So dito parang nung nagkaroon ng science, gumagana na yung reasoning or pag-iisip ng mga tao, parang lahat ng mga reason or yung mga rason, lahat ay sumasalungat sa religion. So doon parang nawala yung kapangyarihan ng isang church or ng isang pare nila sa mga bagay-bagay, educations. Siyempre dati, yung pinag-aaralan ng mga tao is nakasulat sa Biblia. So dito parang nagkaroon ng science, nagkaroon ng maraming explanations. Parang mas papaniwalaan nila yung mga may pruheba. So, yun nga. So, the Renaissance. Ano nga ba ibig sabihin ng Renaissance? So, rebirth. So, rebirth of art and learning. Began in northern Italy and moved to northern Europe. So, rebirth. Ano yung na-rebirth doon? Sabi niya, rebirth of art and learning. So, paano yung nangyari? So, yung Renaissance periods kasi is, dito natin nakilala yung mga magagaling na pintor natin na kung saan nahahaluan ng science lahat ng gawa nila or ng human anatomy. So dito makikita natin yung talagang napakagaling na imagination nila or pag-visualize sa mga bagay in the use of arts. And kung gaano nga ba makapangyarihan yung arts noon, dahil na rin yung mga patrons nila is sinusuportahan nila yung mga artists. So, learning, rebirth of art and learning. So, dati kasi si Aristotle, sinabi niya na yung earth, siya yung nasa gitna nitong lahat ng to. So, merong isang ano doon na ang sabi na yung earth daw is hindi siya yung gitna ng solar system. So, doon sabi ng mga tao na kung mali si Aristotle doon, paano pa yung mga ibang information? So, paano pa yung mga ibang information na nakalap noong bago pa sila? So, parang, paano na-revert yung learning doon? So, syempre, sa pagkakamaling yun, parang sinabi nila na, paano yung lahat pala ng information doon is mali. So, doon, parang nag-dig deeper sila sa lahat ng info, parang sinalisit nila lahat, inulit nila lahat. So, yun yung rebirth of learning. So, next, this can be interpreted in two ways. So, yung rebirth daw is can be interpreted in two ways. Yung una, yung cultural or intellectual movement that attempted to revive the beauty of the ancient culture of the Greeks and Romans by studying the science and culture of these civilizations. And second, as period of transition from Middle Ages towards the modern period. So, sa kanila, ito na yung tinatawag nilang modernizations. Na kung saan, hindi naman nila inaalis lahat ng nasa nakaraan nire-revive lang nila para maging mas maganda, para mas mapaayos in a modern way na kung saan mas makakatulong or makakabuti, makakaganda sa kanila. So, this period also inspired creativity in the arts as proven by genius like Raphael Santi, Michelangelo, and Leonardo da Vinci. So, ito kilala naman natin to, the famous art Mona Lisa. So, Renaissance revived the classical culture of the Greeks and Romans but also developed a new view of the world. So, paano nangyari yun? Mamaya explain natin a new view of the world. So, dito kasi nag-focus ang lahat is sa science. Lahat ng mga activities nila ginagawa nila into painting. Parang ito yung nagsilbing living, parang ito yung nagsilbing memory, parang historical evidences. So the Renaissance began in Italy and afterwards spread in Germany, France, England, and Spain during the latter part of the 15th century up to the 16th century. So more on Western. So ayan yung Italy. So Italian city-states become rich from trade. So alam naman natin kung gaano kalaki ang epekto ng trade sa ekonomiya ng isang bansa. So dito kapag malakas yung trading, syempre mas malaki or mas maraming parang mas marami kang kapangyarihan. So dito, ito yung bansa, the Florence, the Venice, and the Genoa. So ito yung Venice, Genoa, and the Florence. So tignan mo yung sakop nila. Kung titignan natin, parang ito parang nasasakop nila lahat. Saan man magpunta yung mga tao, meron silang pupuntahan na para sa kalakalan. So, they were trading centers for distributions of goods to Northern Europe. Independent city-states governed as republic by wealthy merchants. So, sino nga ba itong wealthy merchants? Mamaya may papakilala akong family na kung saan malaki ang naitulong nila sa Renaissance period. So, syempre kapag ikaw ba naman kontrolado mo yung kalakaran, yung trading sa isang bansa, ikaw yung magiging makapangyarihan. Tapos ikaw din yung maaaring kumontrol sa bawat bansa. So doon nila inaano yung politika nila. Kung sino yung mas makapangyarihan, sila yung may karapatan na kontrolin ka. Ganun siya. So cause of Italian Renaissance. So crusades, alam naman natin yung crusades, crusada. Ang pinaka-sikat dito is yung krusada ng mga bata. The next one is the control of Mediterranean Sea. So, ito yung Mediterranean Sea. So, itong mga, ito syempre meron silang port na tinatawag. So, kapag kontrolado mo to, ito pwede siyang maging daanan kasi to. So, kontrolado mo na din yung trade. O yung mga kalakaran sa iba't ibang lugar. So, malaki yung maitutulong nun sa isang bansa. So, major Italian cities. So, an independent city-states emerged in northern and central Italy that played an important role in Italian politics and art. So, we have Milan. Ito yung Milan. Milan, the Venice, and the Florence. Milan, Venice, Florence, and Genoa. So, kung titignan mo siya, well distributed yung mga lugar na yun. Parang kahit saan man lugar, meron at merong magkocontrol. Parang napaka-powerful na formation yun. So, yung Milan, sabi dito, so, one of the richest city and controls trade through the Alps. So, ito yung Milan through the Alps. So, kung dito, kontrolado ng Milan yan. So, Venice, setting in the Adriatic, it attracts trade from all over the world. So, ito yung Venice. So, kapag ng Venice, dito maraming bansa dito. Tapos marami pa siyang matadaanan to Adriatic Sea. Ito yung Adriatic Sea. So, pwede niyang makontrol yung trading. Sabi niya all over the world. So, alam naman natin kung gaano kalaki yung naitulong ng dagat sa trade. Tulad ng mga Phoenicians. Diba? So, kapag seafarer, mga alam mo yung sa dagat, makokontrol mo talaga yung trading. So, next is the Venice. Setting on Florence, controlled by the Medici family, who became great patrons of the art or the bored rich people. So, ito na yung Florence. napakalaki ng Florence kumpara sa apat na to. So, yung Florence, yung may pinakamalaking lugar. Nasa gitna din siya, kaya maganda yung lokasyon niya. So, next is the Genoa had access to the trade routes. So, ito yung Genoa. Si Genoa, kahit since nasa tabi siya ng dagat, mas madali sa kanyang na makipag-trade sa ibang lugar kasi mas malapit siya sa dagat, hindi siya mahihirapan. So, these are the major Italian cities in the Renaissance period in Italy. So, yan. Growth of the trade and commerce. We have the influence of city-state. So, trade is equal to wealth. Siyempre kapag merong kalakalan, may trade, merong wealth. Meron kang kapangyarihan. So, which family supports arts? So, which family supports arts? Yun yung malaking naging ambag ng mga patrons o yung mga mayayamang pamilya noong period na yun. So, alam mo naman natin na yung Renaissance period, doon talaga is in lumaganap yung iba't ibang arts. The paintings, doon natin nakilala yung mga magagaling na mga artists tulad ni Leonardo da Vinci. So, yun. Because they supported their artists. Kaya, malaki ang naging impact nun sa contributions sa arts, sa literature, sa lahat. So, in the growth of the trades and commerce, crusades connect with Muslim and cities and merchants grow. So, alam mo naman natin na kung gaano kalaki ang naibigay na contribution ng mga Muslims kahit sa bansa naman. Kahit dito sa Pilipinas, dati nakikipagkalakaran na yung mga Muslim dito sa atin. So, talagang mga negosyante sila. So, next you have the Muslim introduce new ideas. So, Muslim introduce new ideas. Beginning of the Renaissance in Europe. So, try to improve all things, humanities and educations, change ideas about government, religions, and social class. Yun yung pinagbasihan nila. Yung Greece and Romans, Rome, doon nag-base yung Renaissance sa pag-aaral nila sa kanilang education. So, the growth of humanism. So, we're in the humanism na. Pero bago yon, punta muna tayo sa family or the merchants and the Medici family. So, the Medici family, natatagpuan sila sa Florence. So, alam naman natin yun. So, sila kinokontrol nila ang banking, manufacturing, mining, trade, and other ventures. So, napakarami nilang kontrolado. Parang lahat sa Florence kontrolado nila. Kaya, sila rin ay makapangyarihan. So, the Medici family played a significant role in the development of Renaissance in northern Italy. As patrons of science and learning, the Medici family promoted the Renaissance by building a public library and centers of education, giving support to painters, sculptors whom they paid to decorate the Medici palace. So, napakalaking tulong ng Medici family sa mga artists and sa mga iba pang painters noong panahon ng Renaissance period. So, they also promoted the library and centers of educations and giving support to painters. So, yun nga. So, yung education nila, nag-base sila sa Rome and Greece. So, napakamakapangyarihan ng the Medici family. Dito rin, bago muna yan, dito sa Renaissance period din na yung the Black Plague o yung parang sa coronavirus din noong panahon yan. So yun yung yun yung masaklap or yung pandemic na lumaganap noon na nagpabagsak. Parang nagpabagsak ng kaunti lang. Parang nagpabagsak sa Renaissance. Yung pandemic or yung the Black Plague. So next, we're in the humanists. So, the new interest in Greek and Roman culture and values. So, Michelangelo sculptures of David. So, ito yung David. Dito, dito inano niya yung human anatomy. Na kung saan hindi lang siya basta sculpture, pero dito talagang parang reflection siya ng totoong tao. Kasi dati yung mga sculpture nila is simpleng simpleng sculpture lang. Walang muscles. Dito parang sinabi niya dito na ito yung tao. Ganito yung tao. Parang salamin siya is it's a reflections or the reality. Ito yung parang realidad ng tao. So, the blending of religious ideas with Greek and Roman humanist philosophy. So, dito may kinalaman din sa religious. So, parang sinabi dito na parang ikaw ginawa ka ni si Eva at saka si Adam. Parang dito siya binis religious. So, next is the humanists were supported by patrons who were very wealthy. So, sino nga ba yung mga humanists? So, humanists, sila yung mga scholars or definers that study the classical civilizations of Greece, Rome. So, they are the pioneer or the scholars. Na kung saan, pinag-aaralan nila ang civilizations of Greece and Rome. So, humanists, sila din yung teachers that teach the humanities. Ano naman yung humanities? Yun yung subject or the subject matter studied by the humanists ay tinatawag na humanities. So, study of humanities, ano yung mga pinag-aaralan nila? Pinag-aaralan nila yung Latin and Greek language, composition, rhetoric, history, philosophy, mathematics, and music. So, ulitin natin. Yung humanists, sila yung mga pioneer o yung mga scholar na kung saan pinag-aaralan nila yung humanities. Or, they teaches humanities. Ano yung humanities? Humanities is the subject matter. Pinag-aaralan nila yung Greek and Latin language, rhetoric, mathematics, music, and history. So, yun yung humanities. So, next we have many concepts of ideas of these fields of study are rooted in the classical works and knowledge cultivated by the Greeks and Romans. So, syempre yung mga pinag-aaralan nila, meron nang pinag-base yung mga yun. So, yung mga information nakuha nila before in the Greek and Roman civilization. Pero, parang nire-revive nila yon to acquire knowledge, new knowledge, para sa ikabubuti din ng education nila. So, ito si Francisco Petrarch. Sino bang hindi nakakakilala kay Francisco Petrarch? He is the father of humanism. So, he is the father of humanism and a famous writer and a Florentine humanist. So, she is a father of humanism and a famous writer. So, ang ano niya rito is the poetry of Virgil and Homer, and wrote secular poetry about love, life, yun. Pero, it's not about the religious. So, lahat ng ginagawa niya is, hindi siya nakaano sa mga religious things, mga bagay. So, we're in the contributions of Renaissance in different fields. So, contribution saan? Different fields like politics, history, literature, arts, and the women of the Renaissance. Of course, kahit ng mga panahon nun, they value, or yung mga babaes, hinahayaan din nilang makapagpinta or makagawa ng mga bagay na gusto nila. So, next we have in the politics, the political intellectuals of the Renaissance. So framing the power. This is the reason why they look back on Roman history instead of the Middle Ages. A number of manuals on the subject of effective leadership were written. So, alam naman natin na kung gaano ganda yung written o yung mga sulatin o yung mga ano ng mga romance. So doon sila nag-base kasi maganda yung mga wala kami mga leaders na doon. And of course, meron ng writing yung mga romance doon. So we have Baldassar Castiglayon. So si Baldassar, he is a writer and wrote the Book of Courtier. So yung the Book of Courtier, dito sinasabi lang dito, yung leader daw, dapat magaling siya, meron siyang talents, and magaling din siya sa skills. Parang sinasabi niya dito, kapag leader ka, dapat parang perfect ka. So, sabi niya dito na, kapag leader ka, hindi lang isa yung alam mo, dapat alam mo lahat. So, yun yung the book of Courtier ni Baldassar. And dito rin sinabi niya na, kung leader ka, hindi ka lang basta leader. Kailangan, kaya mong mamuno sa digmaan. Kaya mo rin mamuno sa lugar mo. So, yun yung ano ni Baldassar when it comes in politics. Next, we have Niccolo Machiavelli. So, alam naman natin si Niccolo Machiavelli. He is a writer and wrote The Prince. So, to explain how political power can be acquired, maintained, and even propagated to ensure order in society. So, napakasikat ng The Prince. Napakaganda rin din yung story niya. So, isa yun sa mga naging contribution nito, mga to sa in the middle naging contribution nila sa Renaissance period. So, The Prince and the Book of Courtier. So, next in history, humanists firmly believe that the study of history is significant in understanding their own period. In their attempt to delve deeper in the ancient Greek and Roman civilization, they look closely in the ancient texts. They discovered several mistakes made by the scribes during process of translating to the original documents. They also found forged documents which lead them to questions the authenticity of the works supposedly written by the expert. So yun na, di ba? Anong ibig sabihin ng Renaissance? Rebirth of art and knowledge. So, nung may nakita silang isang mali, question na nila lahat na paano yung maling yun is yung taong yun is inahangaan natin nagkamali siya. So doon question nila na paano pa yung iba na mga na-discover, yung mga pinag-aralan, na paano kung mali din yung mga yun. So they start to investigate para na rin mapatunayan kung totoo nga ba rin ba yung mga yun or kung mali din ba. So yun, alam naman natin kung gaano kahalaga yung history. So, nag-base din sila or yung mga pagbabago is binase din nila sa history kung ano ba yung mga dapat gawin. History, tuturuan tayo ng history sa mga bagay na hindi natin gawin kasi matututo tayo sa pagkakamali ng iba. So, yun yung naging ano nila. So, next in the literature. So, the essence of humanism can also be seen in library works. So, paano yun? So, syempre, sa Florence, alam naman natin na the Medici family, nagtayo sila ng Centerstone Library. So, of course, doon, parang napakahalaga ng literature sa kanila. So, the authors challenge the ideas from the Middle Ages, especially those described that powers in the church. They also use the literary works from the ancient Greek and Romans as inspiration in their themes and ideas. So, napakalaking ambag ng mga pag-aaral Asian, Greeks and Romans sa panahon ng Renaissance period. Hindi naman nila tinanggal yun. Of course, they they change it in the better way. So, ito sa literature, we have Francois Rabelais, Miguel Cervantes Saavedra, and William Shakespeare. So, sino bang hindi nakakakilala sa tatlong to? Lalong-lalo na kay William Shakespeare. So si Francois, si Francois, sinasabi dito na parang yung mga Gargantua and Pantagruel. So, dito, sinulat niya yon. So, dito, pinagkatuwaan niya yung mga tao kasi, of course, anong gagamitin ng mga writers to speak their, para maiparating yung mensahe nila? Through writings, through literature. So, makapangyarihan ng literature para apektuhan yung mga mababasa nila. So, dito, doon niya ginawa yung idea, doon niya ginagawa yung mga opinion niya, doon niya nilagay yung opinion niya. So, dito kasi hindi siya naniniwala sa humanism. He don't believe in humanism. So, he used literature para ipaalam or ipaano yung opinion niya. So, next we have sa Abelra. He wrote the book Don Quixote to denounce the medieval view of valor and gentleness in Europe, which according to him was slowly ruining the reality in European society. So, alam mo naman natin na kahit gano'n pa successful yung isang bagay, meron catalyst or merong pupuna dito sa mga pagkakamali. So, talagang merong pros and cons. So, isa lang itong mga to sa nagpapahayag ng damdamin nila through literature kung ano yung masasabi nila sa period na to. So, William Shakespeare. So, alam mo naman natin si William Shakespeare, hero, popular plays like Julius and Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, which he derived from the Greek and Roman history. So, William Shakespeare, isa sa mga hindi makakalimutan hanggang ngayon. So, arts. So, in arts, the quality of arts during the Renaissance period may be compared to the classical art of Romance and Greek, where the uniqueness of each figure was given special attention. So, dito, parang lahat is organized. Lahat planado, lahat maganda. The beauty of the nature was also given appreciation because of its natural states of balance. The use of new materials like oil-based paints was also trademark of the Renaissance. So, meron tayong famous artists dito, si Giotto di Bondon and Filippo Brunelleschi of Florence. So, si Giotto di Bondon was the first to use the technique of creating perspective during the 14th century. So, dito, iba't ibang kinds of technique ang mga naimbento para maipakita lamang yung artistic sides ng bawat isa or the uniqueness ng bawat artist. So, we have the Filippo discovered the use of mathematical laws to illustrate perspective more clearly. And John van Eyck, the Flemish painter, was the first to discover oil painting. So, John van Eyck, so napakalaking tulong niya kasi yung oil painting talaga nagagamit hanggang ngayon. So, pasalamat tayo kay John van Eyck. So, also we have Rafael Santi. So, Rafael Santi is able to combine religious art and the spirit of the Renaissance. The small Cowper and Madonna. So, ito, nakikita natin ito kahit saan. So, next is the Peta, work of Michelangelo, considered as the greatest sculptors of Renaissance. So, ang pinaka-famous na gawa niya is yung Peta. Napakaganda. Na kung saan Mary holding the body of Jesus after the crucifixion. So, napakagaling niya. And may kinalaman talaga sa religious painting. And of course, Leonardo da Vinci, ang napakasikat na The Last Supper, and of course, Mona Lisa. Next, the selling of the Sistine Chapel. So, the selling of the Sistine Chapel is isa ring gawa or noong panahon ng Renaissance or the modern period. So, napakaganda sa chapel, of course, in religion, so the women of Renaissance. During the Renaissance, there were only few women who were accepted by the universities and were allowed to practice their chosen professions. Fortunately, this did not hinder some women from becoming famous for their contribution during the Renaissance. So, kahit ng mga panahon yun, kahit sa Western o sa ibang bansa, talagang less fortunate or meron talagang equality sa mga babae. So, dito, parang hinado nila na hindi lahat ng babae papayagang mag-aral at pumili ng profession nila. Pero, hindi pa rin dito mapipigilan na yung babae is hindi man sila nagdo-dominance, pero alam naman natin na may magagawa din sila at kaya din nilang gawin yung ibang ginagawa ng mga lalaki. So, we have Isota Nogarala, Laura Careta, and Veronica France. So, yan yung mga kilalang mga writers noong panahon yun. Si Veronica sa poetry, campaign for feministic study among women, and they are all writers. Next, we have Victoria Colonna, sa Fonisba, Agusila, and Artemisia Gentiles G. So, anuin lang natin ito kasi sa period 2, merong magre-report ito sa arts. So, bibigyan lang natin ng papadaan lang natin sila. Of course, sino bang hindi nakakilala kay Johannes Gutenberg, who invented the movable type printing press, making reader materials available to multitudes. So, ito yung movable type or yung printing press. So, gaano nga baka importante o kalaki nang naitulong ng printing press na to sa mundo. So, napakalaki. Kung walang printing press, hindi ganon magiging malaki ang epekto ng Renaissance period, of course. Ito yung the great ideas that sprouted in the Renaissance would not have been widely known if it were not for the inventions of the printing press. So, napakalaking tulong ng printing press para maiparating sa buong mundo kung gaano nga ba maganda yung ideas or yung mga contributions noong Renaissance period. So, by the 16th century, almost 9 million copies of 40 different titles were distributed all over Europe. So, 9 millions. Napakalaki nun. Napakalaking influensya nun para sa Europe pa lang yun. So, paano pa sa ibang bansa? Majority of these were religious texts, classics, law books, and materials in philosophy. So, materials in philosophy. So, by means of printing press, nakakabasa ka, nakakapag-aral ka. So, napakalaking tulong niya sa panahon yun. The ideas of humanists were popularized through the use of printing press. One of the most significant published materials was In Praise of Folly by Desiderius Erasmus, considered as the catalyst in development of the Renaissance as worldwide movement. So, si Erasmus o si Desiderius Erasmus, siya yung catalyst. So, lahat ng nangyayari sa Renaissance period, so, sinusulat niya to. Then, syempre, nililimbag tong mga to. Yung gawa niya is dinadaan niya sa humor, di ba? Alam mo naman natin na, kaya nga sabi nila, half-meant truth. Joke or half-meant truth. So, lahat ng literature, lahat ng gawa niya, artwork, is dinadaan niya sa humor or sa katatawanan. Para hindi siya gaanong hindi tuwiran or hindi tuwiran or hindi sa anong paraan niya may humor pa rin. So napakagaling niya lang kasi naisip niya yung humor para hindi diretsang maipaano yung mensahe niya sa iba. So, use humor to show the immoral and ignorant behavior of people, including the clergy, if people will be open-minded and be kind to others. So, yun yung silbi ng mga literature, of course, para magpamulat at para maghatid ng mensahe sa mga tao. And napakagaling niya kasi dinaan niya yun sa humor or sa katatawanan. So, that's the end of my topic, the Renaissance period 1. So, meron akong quotes dito, you don't have everything to enjoy life, and because you already have life to enjoy everything. So, sa panahon ngayon, mag-ingat po tayong lahat, and stay at home. God bless po. Thank you.